Now, I guess I objectively kind of look at it and say, was I wrong about my assessment of TBC, of WoW Classic TBC? And while I understand some of the sentiment that has happened since I released that video, and I've been talking about playing the game and kind of coming back of it, and it's funny too, is because from the Guild Wars 2 side, it almost feels like I've betrayed people. Like, oh, how dare you play the that video game? That's the worst. And I guess what I don't think that I'm wrong in the assessment that WoW Classic is a drastically different game than WoW Retail. Like, now don't get me wrong, like WoW Retail of course has its its pluses and minuses. However, I think a lot of what I see in Classic is the kind of very similar to the way that I see like Guild Wars Reforged. Like, it's a game I kind of already know what to expect. I know what is going to happen and I know how things will go, and there's like a little bit of certainty with that. But I'm also just more so enjoying the trip, like I'm just enjoying the idea of, you know what, I'm leveling. I'm spending some time, playing this Draenei and playing as a shaman and I tried out the other classes and having a great time. And I think that's kind of where the sentiment of WoW Classic ends up being kind of like negative, is just that people look at it as a standstill and they compare that of Classic to what I would imagine, what I would say is to Retail. And I think part of the reason that I enjoy it so much and it's something that I'm finding a lot of fun in is because it's not rushed. I don't know about you guys. I spend a lot of time throughout the day, work, kids, all that stuff. I'm running all the time. And whenever I can just sit down and play a video game and I can just turn off my brain and not have to think of all this like micro list of, I have to do this today to continue this. I have to go A, B, C, D and work my way all the way through. I can just log in and not really think about anything and have a wonderful time. And I don't believe that I was wrong when I was coming to the consideration of WoW TBC and kind of like its experience, because I do think that it's a lot of fun. I do think that there's a certain, we'll say, nostalgia to it, yeah, but also just it's fun to not have to worry about these things. It's fun to just be able to play the game and just enjoy what's happening. So now, and again, I know that this won't last forever. Like playing WoW TBC, like eventually it's going to get to a point where it's very repetitive. Probably once I get towards end game and where I'm able to clear Karazhan or I have the best gear. I don't know how many ults I'm going to really play, but I kind of look at it in the sense of it being kind of seasonal. And truth be told, from my background, my experience, Guild Wars 2 is incredibly seasonal. Like, I mean, even just now, like they had their update, their quarterly update, and they included a whole bunch of really good stuff, like, the quick play finder or the quick play raids, which was a huge ask, and that's been fantastic to see. But then I also look at it in the sense of like, there's really not too much else after that. And, it's kind of like I mean, there's a lot of game to play, but there's only so much that you can continuously do. And I've started to view MMOs in that way, is that like MMOs are seasonal. Like you play one for a little bit, you really enjoy it, you have a good time, and when it stops being fun, you go and try something else. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy Guild Wars 2, like don't get that twisted. But I will say that it has hit kind of a lull in that regard. So I really enjoy the way that WoW Burning Crusade has played, and I've enjoyed just the simplicity of it and not having to worry about a whole bunch of different things happening all at the same time. I could just play the game. Don't have to think. Yeah, it's really beautiful in that regard. So enjoy this world, enjoy the leveling up system, enjoy the end game once you get there, and understand that it's not a rush. And I think that's where I've kind of hit like this almost I want to say renaissance of understanding with MMOs is that I don't have to rush, you know? Like, now, arguably, everything that I've said could also be said about Guild Wars 2, 100%. You could easily say that Guild Wars 2, you don't have to rush, you don't have to do it, but I also worry about, like, the new player experience. I mean, a lot of my videos on Guild Wars 2 and their new player experience is talking specifically about how difficult it is for a new player to get into the game. I've already completed this. To get into the game and actually understand what the heck is going on. I mean, you're assailed with systems early on, like almost immediately as soon as you started playing, as soon as you start playing the game. So it makes it kind of difficult, you know. Like I really feel for a lot of players, it makes it very difficult for them to know what is going on, like what's their reason in HP steak sauce, to know what is going on and basically the understanding of where the game is and what you need to do. At least with WoW Classic, it's just like you just level and you spend quite a bit of your time leveling. Now, again, I do think Guild Wars 2 and Burning Crusade Classic kind of pull at two different threads. WoW Classic definitely pulls at just different threads, but there's something nice about not having to learn a whole bunch of stuff and just enjoy that old experience that you may or may not have had. I've had a little bit. I played, I was like the equivalent, we'll say, of a 90s, a late 90s baby, we'll say. The way that I played Burning Crusade was like, I just got in right there at the tail end of the game, or as Burning Crusade was being played, like last couple months of the Fury of the Sunwell patch, which was the last patch leading right before Wrath of the Lich King released. So in a sense, I was born on like December 1st of 1999. And I was like, yep, I'm a 90s baby. That's the equivalent. That's how I view it. Being able to play it from the start it's fun. And again, what happened to old MMOs where you could just enjoy the experience? Nothing wrong with enjoying the experience. I don't think so, at least. Yeah, so I don't really know if I was wrong about the Burning Crusade. You know what's funny is I sat there and I talk about it. It's like that video. Not a whole lot of people. I knew not a whole lot of people were going to want to watch that. But what's always funny is to see the immediate dislikes, because again, most of my base is Guild Wars 2, 100%. Some Final Fantasy sprinkled in there, but the second that I started talking about World of Warcraft, it was almost like that MMO tribalism come up. I lost, I think, 2 subscribers within the first hour of me making that video, which again, that's fine. You know, that happens when you make a video that's outside of your normal scope, and it kind of changes the perspective, I should say, of what like what your channel is doing and what people may or may not like. And that's fine. That happens. Things don't always align. But it's always funny to have that immediate reaction where it's like, I wasn't even in like 5 minutes of the video, and they're like, yeah, no, you started talking about WoW TBC or just World of Warcraft in general. No, downvote, unsubscribe, you're trash. Like, I think no matter what I did, it was that was gonna happen. But I'd also rather be true and authentic in that sense of what I'm enjoying, what games I'm playing, and how I'm liking it. Yeah. If you guys did miss it, you could see my initial analysis in this video here. This will go ahead and take you and show you all the fun things that I experienced within my first couple of hours of WoW Classic. So yeah, there you go. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.